Hey crafters, welcome to Paulette's Pretty Paper Crafts. It is July 12th, 2016, and it's time for July's name tags. I'm doing a non-traditional theme this year. I'm just going to do summer because by the time I get around to doing the name tags, the holiday has already passed, so no need to do 4th of July. I love these little penny black girls. I don't know who designs them, but they are so cute. So I'm going to use this one. It is called Fluffy Passenger. So I'm starting out with this stamp, and I am going to mount this to my Stampin'UP stamp block that I have added some extra foam to. I'm also using the Framelits Labels collection. This is by Sizzix and Stampin'UP. It's 125598. I'm using the third one down to cut my watercolor paper and the second one down to cut 2 pieces of cardstock. And I've got a little bleach spot on one of my cardstocks, so I'll have to flip that over and it'll be the back of my shaped card. So here's my Stampin'UP stamp mount. Let's talk about name tags a little bit. These are the ones I purchased at Wal-Mart Super Center. You get 12 of the clips and 12 of the vinyls, and for about $4 you can make cards. But you might have a name badge holder on hand. This is a spare one that came from my husband's work, from a party or something. And then this is one that I made on the computer. So if you don't have time to stamp, you could always print something from the computer and heat laminate it like I did here and put a pin back on it. I'm gonna stamp my name this month. I'm using Lawn Fawn's Riley's ABCs, but the capital P is not large enough. So I'm gonna use the capital P from this Martha Stewart set. And it is called Clear Monograms and Frame Stamps. I'm going to watercolor using my Stampin' Up! Water-based die reinkers, and I've got them put in my Tim Holtz artist tray. So I'm just sizing up my stamp to see how much ink, where I need to put ink. I don't need the whole bicycle, so I'm omitting the bottom of the tires there and the wheels. But I do want to be sure and capture the girl and that little dog. And I'm trying to get a good impression, but I did not, and that's okay. We're going to roll on because this happens in everyday stamping life. I get better results if I stamp on a glass mat, which I'm not doing to, kind of keep from having that glare in the camera. And I am stamping on a piece of fun foam covered with a piece of cardstock, but I didn't get a super great impression on my die cut either. But that's okay. There are ways to fix it, and I'm going to use this medium point Sharpie that's just in black. It is a permanent marker, and I'm outlining these little hats where the solid images did not stamp all the way. I am stamping on the rough side of the watercolor paper, and this is the Canson 140 pound that comes from Wal-Mart Super Center as well. And then I'm filling in with my Bic Tuxedo Black Market because I don't want to waste my little thin line marker if I don't have to. And just for my own preferences, I'm outlining the sleeve and the bit of the shirt there that didn't stamp, but this really is not necessary. That's just my preference. Once you add all the color, you really don't notice those little things. I'm stamping in Ranger Archival Jet Black ink for all of this, and I am heat setting this with my Milwaukee heat tool, compliments of the very lovely and generous Jennifer McGuire. I'm going to set those aside and let them set for a minute and score my back piece of my die cut shape here for my shaped card approximately 1/2 inch. I didn't really measure, and I'm going to glue that to the front with some glossy accents by Ranger. This is acid free, archival safe. It will not bleach or change the color of the cardstock. And just in case people keep the cards that I make, I want to ensure that the glue is good. I've got two aqua painters. I've got a small Pentel Aquash, and I'm going to squirt the water from it into these little tubs with reinker. And I'm going to start with the little dog and some Night of Navy that is diluted down a lot with water. I love this Night of Navy. It's a very almost black sky blue, if that makes any sense. I use this color a lot for wheels and tires on things. You can dilute it down to any degree of gray that you want. And I'm just outlining my little dog because he's a little white poodle. And then I'm going to start on my basket. Now, I have discovered if I am coloring something that's ultimately going to be brown in the end, it looks more realistic if I put yellow down first. Then if I miss any areas with the brown, the yellow shows through and it gives it more depth or more brightness. Now I am diluting this close to cocoa down, and did you see me scrape the brush off a little bit so that the extra color and moisture went right back into that same little pot? And that was just to darken up some extra areas on the basket. Now I'm going to start putting down some Pacific Point, and these are all Stampin' Up reinkers, water-based dye reinkers. And I am not doing any fancy coloring, no fancy shading. I added a little extra dark to my baskets in some areas, but basically I'm just filling in the images. Now I got a little dark on this shirt on the left, so I am wiping off my brush and then stealing some of that color to move it around to other areas. And I got outside the scarf, so I'm tapping that up a little bit. And this one's a little faded, so I'm just dropping in a little bit more. And I think I was talking when I got ink outside of the sleeve of this one, and I did the same thing. I added water and pulled it up with a clean paper towel. I'm going to use some diluted real red for the little dog's scarf. I thought it would be fun for him to have his own color and make him stand out a little bit more. He's so sweet. I'm also going to give him some Pixie Pink cheeks because after all, he is a French dog. And then I'm using some more of that Night of Navy, a little bit darker this time, darker than the dog. You can see what a nice gray that turned out to be. I love that I can dilute it. Just keep adding water to get lighter and lighter and lighter if you need to. I decided to do the bicycle in some Certainly Celery, and this looks pretty dark for Certainly Celery, but that's what my Tim Holtz artist tray says in that little pot. After you add water to these and then the water evaporates, the inks kind of constitute back to kind of an oily substance, and it does make them a little bit more concentrated. So I'm using some Blush Blossom for the face and the hands. And I completely forgot to do the feet, so I'm moving on to the pants. And I'm doing that in some Calypso Coral. And I did not let my bicycle dry, and so that green just slurped right over into the knee area of the pant leg. So I had to tap that up and reapply that. I'm also giving my girl some Pixie Pink cheeks too. And I got a little too much water in my brush, so I had to take some of that water back out. And I'm going to do dark brown hair, so I'm starting with that yellow again, Daffodil Delight. And now I'm adding some chocolate chip, which is the darkest brown I have in the Stampin' Up inks. And now I'm going to go and finish the feet. But boy, is this dark, so I'm really having to scrub that with some clear water and wipe a lot of that off. Now, I got a little cauliflower right here on the hip, and so I'm blending that out and adding a little bit more color on top of it, and this is a great time to fill in any places I missed. I'm going to add a little bit of clean water after I dried the cards with the heat tool so that I can drop some ink in here. This is some Tempting Turquoise for my sky, and I really thought this was going to travel, but it didn't. But that's okay. I'm going to take this larger aqua painter and just blend up and blend down until this dissolves. I didn't want a heavy sky. I just wanted something other than the blank color of the watercolor paper. You know, we didn't have an area to put grass, so that's why I chose green for the bicycle, and I think a little bit of sky just balances that off. I'm going to dry that really well with my heat tool before I stamp it with my name stamp. Compliments of my lovely daughter, Katie. She thought it would be fun for me to have a stamp with my name and the date. And I'm going to stamp the back of my shaped card too. Isn't that cute? I love shaped cards. I love getting shaped cards. And I'll tuck my little name tag in. I did not have room for the month, and I'm not going to worry about it. You know, I've stamped the month and the year on the back of these cards, and so people can refer to that if they want to know when they were created and who made them. So I think that's really fun. I hope you guys are getting to play in Kathy Racusin's 30-Day Color Challenge. I will be entering these in today's challenge at Kathy's blog. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you have a fun and crafty day.